What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. Well, today's video is a bit different. In today's video I'm gonna show you the top 5 best budget action cameras. And mostly because if you go on any website and you search for an action camera, there will be hundreds and hundreds of results. And it's difficult to know which one to choose. It's difficult to know which one has the best video and sound quality and which one offers the best value for the money. So with this video I'm hoping I'll be able to help you with that. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I got to try about 70 to 80 action cameras, so quite a few, and I actually have about 10 action cameras at home at any given time. So the ones that I'm about to show you I got to personally try and test out, because I'm not just gonna show you some cameras that I've seen online. So at number 5 I have a somewhat older action camera. This one is called the Apeman A80 and this is also the cheapest out of the 5 that I'm about to show you. So you can find this camera for about $70 on Amazon, and even though in the description there it says that the camera can record in real 4K, in reality this camera cannot record in real 4K. So this camera is using the Novatec 96660 processor, which cannot record in real 4K. So all the 4K recordings that you are getting from this camera are in fact 2K recordings that are interpolated to 4K recordings. Now the camera has gyro image stabilization and that's great, and you can use that for any resolution, and the video and the audio quality are also very good for a camera that costs about $70. Now if you want to check out the full review for this camera, I'm gonna leave a link in the top right corner or the video's description as well. At number 4 we have a new camera from SGCAM, and this one is called the Explorer 3, and you can find this one for around $90 to $95, but it really depends where you're gonna buy it from. So this camera is using a new processor called the iCatch V50, and this camera can record in real 4K, and we also have image stabilization for 4K recordings. Just like the Apeman A80, this camera comes with a waterproof case, and that's great mostly if you're planning to take the camera in the water. And with this one we also get a touchscreen, and having a touchscreen on the back of the camera makes it much easier to use. The audio from the built-in microphone is also good, and the video quality is great as long as you have plenty of light. As soon as you don't have enough light, the video quality is not good. And in fact the Apeman A80, so the previous camera, has better video quality for low light conditions. So if you're planning to film anything at night, I recommend that you don't buy this camera and you buy something else. And we are moving on to number 3. So at number 3 I have a couple of cameras. I have the SGCAM SJ7 Star and I also have the TI T5V. Now these cameras use the exact same processor, so they use the Umbrella A12S75 and the same image sensor, the Sony IMX117. Both these cameras can record in real 4K at 30 frames per second, but unfortunately they don't have image stabilization for 4K recording, so the image stabilization only works for 1080p recordings, but the video and the sound quality is very similar from both of them. Both these cameras can take external microphones, and that's not something that I could have said for the previous two. So if you're planning to use any of these two cameras, so the SGCAM SJ7 Star or the TI T5V, for any function, an external microphone may be very useful. Personally, I prefer the SGCAM SJ7 Star in between these two, but mostly because it's made out of metal and it has a touchscreen. The other one it's made out of plastic and it doesn't have a touchscreen, so it's much easier to use the SJ7 Star. Now, if you don't care how the camera looks, the TI T5V has the exact same video quality for daytime and nighttime, and it's also cheaper. I think you can find that one for about $120. And I've done reviews on both these cameras, and once again you can find the reviews in the video's description or the top right corner. And we are moving on to number 2. So at number 2 I have the best action camera that I have ever tried so far, and this one is called the E4K Plus. Now you're probably wondering, so why is this at number 2 then? Well, I have this placed at number 2 because of the price, because this isn't exactly cheap. You're gonna have to spend somewhere around $260 to get this camera, and that's basically double the price of any other action camera that I showed you in this video. This camera can record in 4K at 60 frames per second or in 4K at 30 frames per second if you want the image stabilization on. So the image stabilization only works at 4K at 30 frames per second. The video and audio quality from this camera, it's mind-blowing good, and I'm not joking. You're gonna have a hard time believing that those recordings are actually coming from this camera. So if you're looking for the best out of the best, well, this is the one to get. This camera supports an external microphone as well, and this one probably has the best battery life out of the 5 that I'm gonna show you. Unfortunately, this camera doesn't come with a waterproof case, and if you're planning to get the waterproof case for it, you're gonna have to spend another 30 bucks or so. But I do recommend that you get the waterproof case because there will be times when you're gonna wanna take it in the water. And I actually took this one in the water with me and I filmed some really cool stuff with it. So definitely not cheap, but the best out of the 5. And we are moving on to number 1. So at number 1 I have the Shamy Media 4K action camera. And I believe that this one offers the best value for the money because you can find this one for as low as $90. But once again, it really depends when you buy it and where you buy it. So this one is using the exact same processor that we have for the SGCAM SJ7 Star and the TI T5e. So this one can record in real 4K, but you're not gonna get image stabilization for 4K recording. So if you need to use the image stabilization, you're gonna have to record at 1080p, which may be disappointing for some, but at least we get good video quality for daytime and nighttime recordings. Now, if you absolutely need image stabilization for this camera, you can buy the gimbal for it because Media made a gimbal just for this action camera. Now, the gimbal is not exactly cheap, it costs just as much as the camera, but if you absolutely need image stabilization for it, well, you can buy that gimbal and it can make your life much easier. Unfortunately, this one doesn't come with a waterproof case either, so with this one you just get the camera and the cable. So if you're planning to take this anywhere close to the water, I do recommend buying a waterproof case because otherwise it's gonna get damaged. You can also find a full review for this action camera in the video's description or the top right corner. Now, whichever of these action cameras you choose, I do recommend that you buy a spare battery for it because if you're planning to record in 4K, you're not going to be able to get more than 50 minutes of recording on one charge, and that may not be enough for everyone. Of course, you can always plug in like a power bank to any of these action cameras and you can charge them while they're recording, but carrying that power bank with you may not be ideal. Alright guys, hopefully this video was useful and hopefully I made it a bit easier for you to choose your next action camera. If you did like it, press that like button, don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.